Hi, welcome to my 2011 Forester, which I did a conversion about 2 years ago, and I made a video there, and I'm going to do a follow-up on it because there's a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, some messaging we get, what has to be done, what doesn't have to be done, what can be done, and so on about that conversion kit. So I did this one about 2 years ago, and I drove about 45,000 miles. It was an oil burner, and I replaced the FB25 for a newer version, which unfortunately has different cylinder heads and different motor management. So I will go over what's needed, what has to be done, what some torque specs are, and what tools do you need, which do you need, and maybe in the end, I'm pretty sure I have a little download for some write up a sheet a little bit, so people can follow along or see what they need, what they can do. And I hope that helps a lot more people in this moment to get that conversion done. I'm working on the newer version, so we can use the direct injector as well, so there will be always a new motor model available as long as they make FB25s, C, D, whatever E's, whatever comes up. So no more talking, let's get into it. So what's included in my little solution to that problem is the adapter blades. They're about 15 millimeters thick, because I have to morph both shapes, the old shape from the cylinder to the new square shape. And you can see here, they're pretty close, the shapes, and then goes on there and then goes to the square. Because we try to minimize turbulent flow as much as possible. We like to have laminate flow coming into your engine. We don't want to have any swirls there, and you get a little loss, and your ECU has to work really hard to make up for that. Plus we like to have economy on our gas. That's why we did that. I included 4 O-rings, so we don't have to work with any gaskets or RTV sealer or anything else. This is messy. This one you can take on and off anytime you want to. Not a big deal. So it's easy to maintain or do stuff on your engine. Yeah, because it's raised 15 millimeters, you have to extend the EGR pipe, but only, I guess, states have to do that, or areas where you have emissions control or something. Other people can just block it off, I guess. It goes in here, bolts back onto your coolant, whatever manifold here. Also, it comes with the hardware, so you don't have to figure out how long the bolts have to be. There's another option, which not everybody needs, but they changed the timing chain cover, not including how we call it, idler wheel bracket provision, idler wheel provision. So I had to come up with an idler wheel bracket, because I didn't want to use my old. Is it still on there? Probably, yeah, it's on the other side, unfortunately. I didn't want to use my old timing chain cover, because there's the oil pump included inside, embedded in it, and I don't know how much soot and dirt and debris was sucked in it and worked out. And once you grind up the ends of your oil pump, you lose a little bit of leakage there, so pressure is not as good and flow is not as good. So that's why I came up with a bracket here that will bolt on there between the alternator and the engine. So that pretty much includes all the parts which is needed to do the conversion. The conversion doesn't need anything more. You can use exactly what you had on your old car, because once you change all these ones and change certain sensors to certain new locations, or use the old ones, it should go smooth sailing, and you can go, and we can go through that now a little bit more in detail, what is involved in the sensor business. So let's check it out. All right, now we go into the nitty and gritty of this conversion here. Most of the time you get an engine block like this. It comes from the junkyard. Sometimes you don't get any accessories. Sometimes you get just stuff cut off with a flamethrower, or a break off and whatever. They're not very sensitive to anything on the junkyard. So, but most of the times you get a long block with all that on, and it comes with an intake manifold. This is originally one that came on one of them, and you just open up the bolts and take it off, and you can see that the tumble generator is included here in the manifold here. The old version has its own tumble generator attached to it. You got the coolant crossover pipe as well on these ones. This is different than the old one. So you have to take the old one off, which looks like this. They're a little bit different because you got your EGR valve down here, but generally looks pretty close, but you can take that off. The next thing is, usually what happens on these engines, they have a knock sensor. The old one is located right here usually. On this one, these are all already tapped and machined for certain whatever years and countries and whatever. So you take it from here to over here, the knock sensor. That's the first sensor you have to worry about. If you have a long cable, if you leave it here and you have your wiring loom, it might not have long enough of a lead to connect that knock sensor. And that's just a quick side note on that one. You have to take your wiring loom, unplug it, and disconnect all the sensors everywhere and lay it out to the side, because you need it laid on just to put it back on exactly where you took it off on the old one. Once the knock sensor is gone, you have to be aware too if you have a manual transmission or if you have an automatic transmission. If you have an automatic transmission, then you don't have to do nothing here on the crank sensor there. You can just leave it alone. The crank sensor is a lot longer than on a manual one. I have a manual one and I had to take that out and put a new one in. Put the old one in actually, and actually the old one broke and I had to make one. But that's a different story. So once this is done, this is pretty much anything you have to do on the block here on top of it. That's it. Just make sure that everything is, I would usually change these O-rings out. They're usually hard like a rock for the coolant, and leave the baffles in there. Is a better cold start, works better. If you live in hot climates, not so important. Once you got this done here, then comes a little bit more the involved part. Okay, when you got that off, everything, then you can take the timing chain cover off and make sure you don't pry on anything. So they come off fairly easy when you tap them a little bit and persuade them a little bit. Once you take that off, and like I said, you have to take it off because you have to change the tone wheels on the camshaft. These guys have one with notches with little teeth coming out there. So the ECU reads these teeth a little bit different than on the old engine. The old engine has notches, so the easy thing is just replace them. There are 3 bolts in there, and they use a star bolt for that one. I don't have one on there right now. And you can get these sockets dirt cheap at Harbor Freight, so it's not a big deal. You just take them off. They only go on one way. They have a little pin there which locates it, so you can't, there's a pin here, and you can't screw that up. So that's pretty easy to do. Once you do this, you torque them up properly, and the torque specs are all in the little handout. That's it. I'm already ahead of something, so multitasking, not my thing. Mahle has a little kit for that. It's called the JV5186. If anybody needs that. That one supplies all the O-rings and the RTV sealer for reinstalling the cover, which makes it a lot easier. Side note again, very important, don't forget the O-rings. There's 3 O-rings in here, which you can't forget here, otherwise not here. There's one here, I think. There's one over there. And there is one, I don't even know anymore. It was too long ago, 2 years. Can't remember.
Just by your hand?
Oh yeah, here, yeah. Good. Very good. 1, 2, 3. So don't forget about them, very important. Plus, have to put the RTV sealer a certain way on that. You don't put too much in there and squeezes out and gets sucked into your engine. So have to watch that. but otherwise it's not a big deal. So that's an easy one to do. The not so easy part is cleaning it up. That is usually the most annoying part of the whole thing, because it's a pain in the ass, literally. And the torque specs will be included in the handout as well. Plus you can see it on the screen. I leave it there a little bit so people can make a screenshot if they want to, if they don't care about handouts. All right, once this is done, pretty much you can leave the old variable timing valves in there. You don't have to replace them. They come in here. When they're not on there, you have to use the old one. When they're on there, you have to do nothing. Just leave them on there. They're exactly the same. The only thing is the tone wheel, and that's it. And this is pretty much, when it comes to the engine and sensors, the difficult part, in quotes, I think. The rest is fairly easy. Another note, the camshaft covers here, they are a little bit different from the old one to the new one. So when you put your old spark plug or your coil in there, it will be a little bit sitting proud. So either you put a spacer in there if you want to. I didn't do it, I took it off. It's a little bit more work because again you have to clean up a lot, but it's the easiest way to do it. Put the old one on there and you don't have to worry about it. But like I said, a spacer does wonders. It's only 10 millimeters, exactly 10 millimeters if you find spacers to do that. Once this is all said and done, you took care of the crankshaft sensor, you took care of the camshaft sensors, you took care of your knock sensor, you took care of RTV sealer galore, and you're ready to put it together here. And this is pretty much how the old intake looks like here. You got your tumble generator, and you see the ports are round. These ports are round. They go on here like this with the old gasket. Here's the quality of our parts here. It's 5-axis machined. It's made in America here. So there's quality for that. You have a O-ring which seals up perfectly against the block. You use the original gasket. I wouldn't know where it is here. Oh, here's the original one. Use the original gasket which came with a kit or so when you buy one. That goes on here. And so you don't have to use any RTV sealer anywhere. So that's quality. So that goes on here. And then the O-ring goes against the block. So let's put that on.
Just while you're putting them on.
That's right, while we're on. That's all, just to keep them in there so they don't pop out. That's it. So let's see. This one goes on here, I hope. This one goes on here. And then you take your manifold. This one I would put the gasket on there, but in this case I leave it. Put your manifold on it. And then put the bolts in there. I just put a couple in there because so that's pretty much all you have to do. Put all your bolts in there, 6 of them, and continue by connecting all the other parts you took off before, like your fuel rail, return, all this stuff of the pressure, I mean for the injectors, and that's the last thing you do usually. You just make sure that you have your, I don't know if any, I can't remember if any parts of the wiring loom goes through there or not, but if yes, then you should put the wiring loom on first. Once this is installed, usually the rest goes just in reverse order from beginning. I don't know, you don't have to take the, you have to change, I would swap the sensors for the camshaft tone wheels just to make sure. There's, I checked them out and they're supposed to be the same, so you can probably leave them in there, but in my first one I put it all, whatever was old, I put in a new one because I don't want to have any headaches if they change anything. Later on I checked it out and it was pretty much the same. Once you have this all connected here, the only thing in any state where they have emissions and other things, you have to put the thing in there, the EGR pipe. So you have to have this old one here for that. Pipe goes in here, and that gets bolted on here, in here, and in here, and you're ready to rock and roll. Idler wheel bracket in the front, which helps to convert the new timing chain cover to the old steering pump pulley system. And that's, I think, lots of people buy that even without the conversion we have, because they're changing some covers. These newer ones are cheaper, so they want to get a newer one. Plus, even with buying that, it's still cheaper than an old cover with that provision, so when you want to buy a new one. So the possibilities are endless on this one. It's a very easy setup, very easy to do on a Saturday. I hope I cleared a little bit up on this whole conversion issue. I mean, you have to look at the right engines that you can buy, and that is 2014, a little late 2014 till 2019, but early 19. Later in the 19s, it's the version D, the FB25D, and they're all direct injected. They don't work yet.
Oh, one more thing.
So this is it, just a quick review on what has to be done really and what doesn't. And I leave a little handout in the description here. You can download that, so you see you have all the specs, all the torque specs and everything else available, and what you have to do, and you can go and make an informed decision what you want to do. And if you have any questions, you can pretty much send me a message to YouTube, or you can email us. I think the email address is in the description as well. So from here on, if you like any of these informations and whatever illustrations what we have and whatever goes on here and helping out for you to get your car going, and you want to help out, you can hit the subscribe button, like button, and maybe thumbs up, whatever it is. And I will see you in the next one.